yardies. But they go around Europe and all different places, they rob, they do what they got to do. That's in their spirit, according to the Bible. Go ahead.
You hear that? Benjamin's prophecy results in his descendants howling on reggae tracks, grinding on big booty hoes at the function, and stealing shit from the local convenience store. It has nothing to do with the Norse Vikings who terrorized Europe for nearly 300 years, raiding, plundering, and dividing the spoils everywhere they went. Are you Black Hebrew cults aware of the Uvhednar, which in English translates to wolf-headed warriors? Are you aware that these notoriously renowned warriors would wear wolf pelts in battle and howl like wolves in order to reach a frenzied state? I bet not. I can also guarantee they are unaware of similar European tribes such as the Dacians. You will often hear these cults claiming that Esau is the progenitor of all white people, and that light skin tones arise due to albinism or vitiligo. But they fail to explain why of all races, it is Europeans who have the widest range of phenotypes. For example, red hair, blonde hair, black hair, and brown hair. Blue eyes, green eyes, hazel eyes, and brown eyes. White skin, light skin, and tan skin. How is this the case if white skin, and thus white people, are a product of permanent intergenerational albinism? If that were true, we would have pale white skin and white hair, yet sub-Saharan facial features and skull shapes. We would not have all the mysterious traits that come along with Rh-negative blood, which by the way lacks the antigens found in primate blood. Despite the fact that not one of 612 primate types have Rh-negative blood, type O-negative is the universal donor. That said, Rh-negative blood is only found in less than 15% of the human population. If the self-acclaimed Black Hebrews were correct, we would also carry up to 19% admixture from an archaic ghost hominid, likely related to Homo habilis or Homo erectus, as new studies show that 4 African populations, Yoruba, Isan, Mende, and Gambians, receive 2 to 19% of their genetic makeup from an undiscovered archaic hominin that diverged before the split of modern humans and the ancestors of Neanderthals and Denisovans. White people are simply not descended from a black-skinned man who acquired vitiligo and passed on a generational curse of albinism. When we read Genesis 25 verse 25, we see that Esau did not become light-skinned, but had been Caucasian from birth. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Some people may argue that this verse is referring to him having a red skin tone, but that could not be the case, as it immediately gives context as to why he is red in the following line, by saying he was covered in hair. If he is covered in hair, that means you cannot see his skin, so we can be sure that this verse is saying Esau was born with red hair. Now, the root term translated to red and referring to Esau's red hair is the Hebrew word admoni. This word is only used in 2 other verses throughout the entire Bible, and both are descriptions of King David in 1 Samuel. It reads, "So he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, with bright eyes, and good looking. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this is the one." Instead of being translated to red, it is rendered as ruddy. Nonetheless, the term used to explain how Esau was covered in red hair is the same word applied to King David. Clearly, Esau was not a black-skinned sub-Saharan who acquired white skin and red hair due to a curse. Rather, he was born with these traits. And so, what would that say about his twin brother who becomes progenitor of the Israelites? For one, the fact that they are twin brothers and come from the same 2 parents means they are the same race.
It's a complete crap!
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Racha HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you brethren, you fellow believers of this truth, and even Shalom, I'll say time to time to you few sisters and supporters of the truth. Right, Shalom to the elect. So anyway, I want to go on this video on this guy here. Eliam. It's titled Black Hebrew Israelites Debunked, plus Israelites in Europe, right? So I even left a comment. Understand what you're doing a video on before you just come up and start talking about, and there's Israelites that teach different things. So, we kind of try to go into these guys to go into debunk whatever particular Israelite group they feel like they're debunking and find out their doctrine before they do that. But when I do a video on them in Christianity, it's all weird, their doctrines anyway. So anyway, this man is pushing racism. He's trying to keep white supremacy Christianity going. That's all this guy's doing. If you listen closely, right? When he talked about Jacob and Esau, what did he say? He said Esau came out as the other flesh, so basically he had to be white too, just like his parents and brother. Just lies. So they had to be of the same nation. Just more lies. So anyway, we're going to debunk this real quick, right? Let's go to Genesis 25 and 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people, right? And then we're going to get into his Lord's will, his take on DNA, deoxyribonucleic nucleic acid, his take on that. Anyway, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, right? I don't know if he read Romans 9 and 11 as Paul was quoting it, and he was saying that these are 2, one was going to oppress the other, right? So, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when it came, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in the womb. So he's making it seem like Esau just came out hairy, which we're going to debunk that too, right? And it says, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, right? So when you see right here, came out red all over like an hairy garment, had nothing to do with him being hairy. That's why when you go to Revelation 1 and it says his hair is talking about the Messiah, his hair was as likened unto wool. It is not wool, it was likened unto wool. His eyes was a flame of fire, likened unto the flame of fire. His feet was likened unto fine brass. See, this is old English translation. Fine, likened unto fine brass. No, his feet wasn't fine brass. Fine brass is dark, by the way. So where do you get the Israelites being white? Look up the word Phineas. Mouth of brass is even in here. I'm not going to go into it. It just means the Negro. So yeah, you know what? Let me look that up real quick. Just real quick. This is to prove that the Israelites and Esau, it was 2 separate manner of people. You can't say that. What he's saying is that is Esau was that complexion, then the Israelites were white, right? This is what he's saying by Jacob, right? Eleazar, the wife. Let me go to Phinehas, 863:72, right? Phinehas means the mouth of brass. When you go into all the dictionaries, the mouth of brass means Nubian Negro, right? I think even in here it says it right here, Egyptian, Nubian, the Negro. Anyway, moving. I'm going back. I just wanted to pull that out. Let's go back here. And it first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, right? So we go down here and we see red. Now watch when you click on red, H132, Adomi, it says red ruddy. Somehow they put ruddy in there. Why would they do that, right? So we're going to get more understanding on that. H119, I don't know what this says. Here we go. They say Adam red, which doesn't mean red. right? It means to the ground. But let's go back. Let's go back. I don't want to jump too far. Ruddy, right? So when you go in the time of Samuel 17 and 42, this is what it says. I mean, the time of King David, right? 1742. And when the Philistines looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of fair countenance. Do you know that word ruddy came about later on, right? That word ruddy came about later on, which if I'm not mistaken, came from bloody, right? It was just Old English talk, right? So when you look at this word ruddy, you automatically associate it with red because of the R sound, right? Let's keep reading. Look at all these translations. Watch what it say. And I'm going to cut out reading the whole thing, just go to the point. Ruddy and good looking. It says here reddish with handsome appearance. So you see how all these scholars have their opinions? But watch. Ruddy with handsome appearance. So somehow they link ruddy, right? I mean, they link red with handsome appearance. This is what they managed to do. They mix red with handsome appearance. Ruddy has nothing to do with red, right? We're going to show you. Ruddy with handsome appearance. This is white supremacy at its worst, or at its best. With a ruddy complexion. How does a red complexion, right, with no complexion, be healthy? Doctors, I had a doctor tell me, and he was one of the small hats, a while back. He said, we see high cases of skin cancer because we don't have melanin. This is what he said. So how's that healthy? And you got to put on sunblock and sunscreen. But we're going to kind of get to the point of him, what he's saying about Europe and all that, Lord's will. Healthy complexion. I want to try to get to the point. It says here, nice looking boy. Here we go. It says David had a dark and healthy complexion, right? When you really go into it, this is why it's a bunch of them on here that says he had a dark and handsome complexion. But then you'll see the translation said the boy was red. Of course, during the translations, they would put that in there. And they damn sure knew that ruddy had nothing to do with red. I took the time to look back up. This is the Merriam-Webster. I'm just reading a little bit of this. Ruddy duck. British ruddy is also used as a colorful euphemism for sometimes offensive, intensive, bloody 20th century. Pretty much it on that. Which came from the word rud. Right? Here we go. It says, this is some examples. Just a few spoonfuls of flavor of cocoa, or in some version, a couple of tidy squares of baking chocolate turn this cake a pale ruddy brown, the same color of building blocks of brownstones, building facades, thus it's time. So the word rud actually, or rude actually meant brown, a dark brown. And that's what we just read in that translation of a dark brown. So we go back here. This is why when you go to the original translation, it says Genesis 25 and 25. This is why I said he came out red. Why didn't it say ruddy like 1 Samuel? Come on. Why didn't it say he came out, which we'd have figured that out too, but still. Why didn't it say he came out ruddy all over like a hairy garment? Right? So that really had nothing to do with hair. That's another point, like a hairy garment. Had nothing to do with hair. Let's go to Exodus 39 and 34. And covering of the arms, skin dyed red, right? Ram skin dyed red, and the covering of badger skins and the voile of the covering. So it was being compared to red dye. Skin being compared to red dye. It had nothing to do with hair. Just that simple. The reason why I read Phineas, because if this is the case, the Israelites, right, how the hell would they be white if they was all so-called black? Come on, man. Job 30:30 says, my skin is black. That's what it says. So we go to H6244. It says Ashash, right?
Strong's H6244. Ashash.
So you go to Ashashwa, right? This is what it says: wasted away to fail, right? And I'm not going to take a lot of time on this. Clothing pieces used from moth-eaten. And here's some examples. My eyes are consumed because of grief, right? I remember, I believe a while back, Elder Apostle Ramla went on that, talking about how your pupils, they dull. Like when you see people get cataracts and their eyes get a little grayish, you know, and they start losing their complexion. Have mercy on me, O Lord, for I am in trouble. My eyes are consumed, right? So I just wanted to touch on that. I don't, you know, it's what it is. You know, you either believe it or you don't. At the end of the day, it didn't say he came out ruddy. And we showed the examples of what ruddy, you know, this is the play on words. This is the English language. You have 10 words that mean the same damn thing. You can have 2-3 words mean the same, sound the same, but mean 3 different things. And then you hear words that sound familiar, and then you'll link them. It wouldn't be ruddy anyway. It would be ready. If it was reddish. It would be reddish or ready, if that's even a word. But somehow they put rud or rude with red, and it had nothing to do with red. Moving on. This guy also says in Europe, and he's comparing to people and how they behave with other situations. But we know in the Bible, you had men take down nations. Moses went to medium and took the woman and all that stuff. You know, so these things did happen. But the curse in Deuteronomy 28 fits us. Now, we also got to understand that he put all these white images up of people and talking about haplogroups and people's DNA and whatever else the case. Let's go to the book of, let me see if I can go to the book of, Hosea. And let's see what the book of Hosea says. Let me go to 1. Verse 10. Let me go down here. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. Right? So you can measure black people. And that's why I said GMS, we don't follow philosophy that all black people are Israelites. This might win an argument to all black people. So where do you get the determination, especially the people who run the world, of what chromosome or genome is of Hebrew Israelite blood? This is why we can't trust it. Because naturally the people, the owners of all that, the marketing of DNA testing and whatever, they could say it was them. Although in that land, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to even mess with DNA because they're afraid things might get out. But at the end of the day, Deuteronomy 28:64 says the Israelites will be scattered among all people from one end of the earth, even into the other. So this is why you would have even white people, Israelites who look white. The logic of the things these people are talking about is off, because there's no way that all Israelites are going to look like Negroes. Some going to look like Chinese, some going to look like white people. And by the way, when they went into Europe, Europe didn't belong to them either, by the way. And all these pictures that he showed of all these white people, understand that it was us over in Europe, man. It was us. It was Israelites in Europe. And then you had other nations, dark-skinned, Japhetic people, and various other peoples in Europe. See, this is this white supremacy this guy's pushing. Every picture you see, he's throwing the pictures of white people in there. This is why he couldn't come up to us with that bullshit. You know, ain't no way we would deal with that. Revelation 7:9. And after this I beheld, lo, a great multitude of that no man could number, of all nations, kindreds, peoples, and tongues. Right. Let's scroll through that real quick. Multitudes of all nations. Remember he said the Israelites will be numbered for a multitude? Nations, G1484, right? A multitude, associated living together. A multitude individual of the same nature or genus. So, you know, John 6:63 says, it is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. So it's about genealogy. It's not about skin color. And he's got the picture of more white people got brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. Get the hell out of here, man. Some of them are Israelites. You can't measure us at the sand of the sea. You got a lot of, you got Southern tribe over there in Europe, Northern tribe. You know, we've been scattered, mixing. Come on, man. The scriptures also say in Romans 8, it is our spirit that bear witness. In the Old Testament, foreign nations not worshiping the true God, pagan Gentiles. Paul's using the term Gentile Christian, right? So I'm going to just try to go through this. Kindreds and people. Let's go to people. Same thing. People, group, tribe, nation, not with an S. All those who are of the same stock and language, right? Of a great part of population gathered together anywhere, right? As I quoted Deuteronomy 28:64, you should be scattered amongst all nations from one end of the earth even into the other. Now this can say nations because it's nations of Israel, right? All right, moving on. Going back to kindreds, G5443. This is what it says. In the New Testament, all persons descended from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch of Jacob has nothing to do with skin color. At this point, we're just telling you who Esau was back then. You got Esau who got skin color now. So it has nothing to do with skin color, right? It has everything to do with the seed of Jacob, who are scattered amongst the four corners of the earth. But this guy, he wants to keep white supremacy rolling along. What about Jesus? Why the scriptures don't depict him as a white man? I guess you'll find a translation say his feet was glowing orange. You really think on the time of slavery, when they was doing these translations and the commentators was making their commentation, they would say, yeah, Deuteronomy 28:48 says they would have a yoke of iron upon their neck. It sounds like those Negroes. You really think they're going to say that on 68 verse, say on slave ships, right? Or are they going to really say, oh, his feet was like unto fine brass as it burned past it in the furnace? The old Bibles say, his feet was like unto a chimney of lantern, burnt chimney. Come on, man. See, we done found out. You know, there's nothing you can do. You can't hide it. That's all I have on that.